An audience member of mine said that no console has ever survived without exclusives. Now, this is a very bold claim. I saw it in the comments thread, and we were talking about a few other things, Steam and all the others, with Steam pretty much now bringing, new devices to the market. I think a lot of console folk are seeing how Steam is doing business, and it's very similar to how Xbox has done business. So those Xbox fans who have been crossed with Xbox for taking their, platform to other devices are looking at people who actually praise Steam for doing the exact same thing. And what the temptation is for many of them to make is that, well, Steam doesn't really make games, when that's not true. Most people don't really know about Steam, or Valve, even people who play on PC. Many of us that jumped into Valve's ecosystem in the 2015, the last console generation, PS4, Xbox One, many of us are not aware of what Valve's record is in terms of making games. So sometimes I'll see some, comments to that effect that, Valve doesn't really make games. And I'm looking to them and saying, have y'all ever even taken the time to go ahead and look at how many games that Valve has made? Yeah, they've been rocking it forever in terms of making games. It's just that these games were actually relegated to their platform. In fact, they created Steam to sell their games. That was pretty much the idea behind it. So again, this is basically exposed that most console fans, and no offense to you, your view has been based on the old school mindset of when you were basically, jumping into these ecosystems. Nothing will remain the status quo. If you continue to think, according to one of my audience member, great comment they made, regardless of what age you are or what demographics you are, if you think anything in life will remain status quo, then you're a fool. There's no reason for anything to remain status quo. I mean, by golly, go look at even Walmart. They're starting to change their Great Value brand to a different name. Dude, nothing is going to stay the same. This is just the reality, that we see in life. Very much so. This claim that, no console has ever made it with, without exclusives or, is just outlandish. You know why? Because there is no reality where that data actually agrees with it. Think about it. Xbox One generation, when they were basically getting hemorrhaged, they were bleeding. Do you know how they stayed sustainable with the exclusives that were brought out that time? Forza was coming out. Gears of War was coming out. Do you know how they actually stayed sustainable? Because it wasn't and I got to say this, Xbox fans, y'all talk a lot, but it wasn't y'all that were actually buying these games alone. PC players were actually basically helping carry Xbox Game Studios. Since 2016, Xbox has gone full day and date to PC, and they have been able to maintain success with that approach. As even many of their games, if you go look at, say, the Steam best games, I think we can find 2019. That's the earliest that we can find. For some reason, I think the links are broken for 2017 and 2018. If you go all the way back to 2019, you see that, in the top seller list, Xbox's bets were not basically thrown away. Halo was in the gold ranking in 20, and this is as far back as I can go. I wish I could go back one more year to show you, right? So as they were making their way into this ecosystem, they were seeing gains. While yes, on PlayStation, on Xbox console, yes, those games were being sold to Xbox users, but there was a backup. And that backup came in the form of them being able to sell their games on Steam. If we go to 2020, even before the new console generation was launched, that also will give you kind of an idea as to how these Xbox games were doing during the, in quote, tough times. Guess who made it in the platinum list in 2020? Doom Eternal. This is during the console transition. Highest grossing game on Steam list, side by side or in the same box with Fall Guys, Dota 2, Cyberpunk 2077. Doom Eternal made that much. Now, that was a Bethesda title at the time because they hadn't acquired them. But if you look at the gold category, Sea of Thieves made it in there. Elder Scrolls Online made it in there in category gold, which was also a Bethesda title at the time, but We can point to Sea of Thieves, right? So them seeing these gains and them being able to stay sustainable with games like Flight Simulator, also being one of the top 100 grossing games on Steam, that already tells you that the PC, approach that they took, grounded for Xbox studios, was actually helping them. Right now, even in this generation, PlayStation themselves are not keeping their games exclusive anymore, and their consoles are still selling. Now, yes, you can attribute it to the fact that people have built libraries on, the PlayStation 4, but PlayStation 4 was also carried by third-party games as well as the exclusivity, as well as the money hatting, slight dealings to make the versions of some games better in some cases. In my case, I played like the Arkham games, and I can tell you for sure that the PlayStation version of the Arkham games was better than all the other versions. PC was the worst at launch because it just wouldn't even work at first. I mean, I didn't even know this at the time. I was playing on the console, right? So again, to say that no console has ever survived without exclusivity, show me PlayStation's exclusivity and I'll believe you. Show me. Every single game that they're making now has a PC pipeline to it, including day one, where they bring their live service games as well. They should try and keep it, exclusive like Valve does. I mean, people say, well, live services need more players. Valve's live services are exclusive to Steam. Epic's live service game, is everywhere except Steam. But Steam's live service games, they're not going anywhere. Counter-Strike, and they stay on one of the top played lists almost every time. Deadlock, which is even, I don't know how Deadlock is basically has all these players. It's crazy. Right? Team Fortress, Dota 2, constantly making the most amount of money every year almost on Steam. I don't know if did you guys just see it, best of 2020? Did y'all just see Dota 2 there again? See, it's right here. Dota 2, 2019, 2020, Dota 2. If we go to 2023, Dota 2. If we go to 2024, Dota 2. It's all in there. So again, I think what's going on here is the traditionalist view is being tested, not just tested, but stress tested. And Xbox having moved, and the traditionalists constantly ragging on Xbox for making these moves, are seeing that, man, maybe their thinking was just straight wrong. That Xbox is actually not just sustainable, but profitable and heavily more competitive, not being exclusive to its own Xbox box. That's how it is. Xbox ain't Nintendo. They've recognized that. They tried to buy Nintendo. It didn't work out for them. They looked and said, all right, we're not Nintendo. We need to go out there and do things our own way. PlayStation was pretending like it was Nintendo. But it's not Nintendo. If you're not Nintendo, you're not Nintendo. Simple. Nintendo has brand presence longer than both of them, And so Nintendo has that advantage to itself. It's done the hard work over years, so it's reaping its rewards. No doubt about that, if you get what I mean. So let go of the old traditionalist model. You can complain about it all you want, but if Xbox followed that traditionalist model, they would be out of business by now. They will be out of business by now. You know why? Because the so-called Xbox fans, many of them did not stay around during the Xbox One days. They jumped ship to PlayStation. So how do you intend to depend on people who have already left the platform to buy your games and keep you sustainable when they're not buying your box? You go find other people to buy your games, and it keeps you in the market long enough so that you can reinvent yourself. And that's exactly what Xbox is doing. They sold their games on other platforms. They're looking for more platforms to sell their games while they reinvent themselves. And Reinvent, they are doing a good job at that because they've taken the technology route. This is a place that Sony is not coming close to because that's what their business has always been. Talk to me in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.